Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about the political situation as far as, of course, we are seeing the election of Speaker in Punjab also. We're also hearing reports, of course, of 11 resignations being accepted by the National Assembly Speaker and having been sent to the Election Commission. Are they going to be what are the kind of effects that we are likely to see? Are there going to be by-elections pursuant to those resignations being accepted, and what are the effects of those? We'll also be talking about, of course, the international publications reports as far as foreign funding is concerned with regard to PTI. We've also seen funds being poured into cricket from companies and individuals, at least £2 million from the UAE. Election Commission has forbidden foreign nationals and companies from funding political parties, of course. What are the exact consequences of these assertions coming out? And what are the likely ramifications? We don't know for certain at this time, but certainly as far as the foreign press is concerned, we are seeing, as far as the funding, things being alluded to funds being attributed from foreign sources as far as the PTI is concerned. What is likely to happen with regard to that? We'll be talking about that, of course. Also the challenges at this time for the government as far as amidst political challenges, there's also the economic side of things. The foreign, of course, we've seen the Chief of Army Staff also talk to the US, as far as early dispersal of funds is concerned. What is likely to happen in the next couple of weeks? All of that today on Perspective. I have with me Kaisar Ahmed Sheikh, who's an M&A with PMLN. Thank you for joining us. We also have with us Dr. Sarkar, who is a senator from PTI. Thank you for joining us. Zahid Kushkori, who is a journalist, a political analyst. Thank you for being with us. Kaisar Sahab, as far as overall situation at this time is concerned, certainly things are not easy for the government. I don't think there are two opinions about that. The speaker election in Punjab also is underway. There's also, we were earlier talking about the challenges that there are as far as economics are concerned. What do you think will happen? We're also seeing, every day the dollar rising. Is this something that was anticipated when, the PDM came into power, when the PMLN took up the reins? What do you expect now?
MAHRUKH, HAMEED, I delivered a speech on 12th May in detail in National Assembly. At that time, there was only 3 weeks that we take our government, this new government. In that speech, I categorically mentioned that our economy is at ventilator, and I emphasized all related parties that there is no other option but to get together and to find some solution to save your state. That because we have taken so huge loans, 85% of our GDP is loan, and the situation they left at that time was in about 8 months, $13 billion was the current account deficit, and then there was more than 3,000 rupees deficit in budget. So these are not the circumstances at which we could continue our economy.
But when you came in, were things worse than what obviously than what was expected? What it looked like once the government?
I meant that even at that time when they left the government, it was a crisis period, and I in 25-minute speech you can see that if you like. It was categorically mentioned that please get together, and it is very difficult and it's not so easy to save our economy. Now after that we did not take care of it. Miftah Ismail was nominated as the finance minister of PMLN. Now Miftah Ismail has never been elected. He is a young man, he is an immature person. At this juncture we need team of competent doctors, not only one doctor of Miftah Ismail, but all competent doctors should get together. When you see there is in a family there is someone on the ventilator, people pray and people get better medicine and doctors to find some solution of that. At that time, there is no time to have a differences between them. So that was the reason. Our major reason is that our two parties, main parties, are conflicting each other. They are allegations are being made. They are not.
You're saying a dialogue at this time, sitting at the table at this time, would be, lucrative as far as the overall financial situation, economic situation is concerned, as far as the country.
It is so bad. We have already been to IMF 22 times. So regularly we go to that, and their conditionalities are being not met. When first time PTI came, this Asad Umar, he was the chairman, he was a person who was considered to be the expert. I was chairman at that time of the finance committee. We had dialogues for many months. So they thought that if we go to the IMF, it will be a sacrifice, it will be a sacrificial attempt for that, and we rather we prefer to have losses, but to go to IMF.
Let me come back to you.
They didn't have the vision. Now they came to know that IMF is the only option. Now I tell you what happened.
Professor Saab, I'll just come back to you. Let me go to Zahid Saab. I'll come back to you. Ji, Zahid Saab, for the Chief of Army Staff at this time to talk to America as far as with regard to early dispersal of funds is concerned, it certainly is something that the situation, how alarming is it, and in your opinion, what is likely to happen as far as the political situation overall is concerned? We've seen what's happening in Punjab, but also with what Kaisar Saab is saying, there is clearly a warring it out so to speak, between the two major political parties at this time that is unlikely to cease. So what do you expect now?
Thank you very much, MAHRUKH. Yes, the situation is very, very important, and this was one of the prime reasons perhaps the Chief of Army Staff interacted with the major stakeholders, interacted abroad to get rid of the situation Pakistan is facing, particularly the economic situation. But obviously, political turmoil in the country is creating more chaos, uncertainty, and it's loud and clear for everybody. But hopefully, we hope that the largest province would come out of political crisis at least in a couple of days, and we hope the center would be doing something better and focusing on the economy and major issues as well. But the situation created here in the center, I see more political chaos in the country because today the Election Commission of Pakistan de-seated and notified 11 members of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, and obviously tomorrow or day after tomorrow, Election Commission of Pakistan would announce the election in these 11 very important constituencies. And then within 60 days, there would be another election, these by-polls, and this political circus, I'm sorry, I'm saying this political situation and the by-polls would continue. And one thing is more clear, that the center, the PGM government have made their mind that they are not going to leave, are not going for early election, because they want to get rid of this economic turmoil first, and then they want some political bargaining as well, because they understand that.
Do you also now that as far as the government in Punjab is concerned, now that we have Chaudhry Pervez Ilahi as the CM in Punjab, are you also seeing a certain the PTI take a step back from their demand of early election, or are you not? And as far as these 11 seats are concerned, in particular, 2 of these I believe are nominated seats. So what happens there? The people, other people in the list will then of course come up and they will resign again. Is it overall, how is it going to impact? And these constituencies, the by-elections, is the government hoping perhaps that once the elections, of course, that they will maybe make up numbers there?
MAHRUKH, your question is very important. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf might be finding in a difficult situation as a political party, because their top most priority is to go for the fresh election, and it was their prime demand. And now either the party is going for by-election in these 9 constituencies being declared vacant by the Election Commission of Pakistan. It would be a very decisive factor for the PTI to withdraw or take U-turn on their demand if they go for election in these constituencies. Number one. And secondly, you know better as a political commentator that the Pakistan Muslim League Q is a political party, and obviously its chief minister, who is also now getting hold on the party as well. He would try his best to gain political ground in the largest province of Pakistan, and this party has been ruling the province 8 to 9 years ago. And this is the best time for the party, because party got the opportunity to rule the province, and they would try to buy more time. They would at least take some time. If the party succeed to rule the province, I see as a political journalist, as a political reporter, that the party would get some ground in the province. And this party has now only 10 MPs, and I can see this in the coming election it may cross 20 or 25 MPs, and it would be in a better political bargaining situation. And this factor for PTI, within PTI, there could be some sort of differences. It could emerge in the near future as well in the province, and the party, for the party, there would be some very, very important, decisive moment to take important decision for political reasons, because the party is eyeing a 2/3 majority in upcoming election. But the situation is now Pakistan has 11 or 12 months to go for the elections, and the momentum was over there.
Let me come back to you. Zahid Saab, let me come back to you. We have with us Dr. Zarqa from the senator from PTI. Dr. Zarqa, these resignations that have been accepted by these 11 resignations now, are you going to go for by-elections? Is the PTI prepared to go for by-elections at this time? Also, these 2 nominated seats, of course, then what would follow, it seems, is that the numbers in the list after these ladies will then come up, and then they will have to resign again. And then, so overall, how do you look at this new development as far as acceptance of these 11 resignations are concerned, and these piecemeal resignations being accepted in this manner? Are you ready to go for by-polls as a party?
Thank you so much, Mahrukh. PML and the ruling coalition right now is in a is between a rock and a hard place. They really don't know what to do. And they had considered, because we had given in our resignations from the National Assembly, 130 of our members, and they were accepted by the Deputy Speaker when they were given in. So those resignations have been accepted. And so there's no issue of accepting them again. But, the kind of farce that we call government right now, they do a lot. These are games that they're playing. So right now what they're trying to do is, because they are now afraid that they may be, their numbers are dwindling, and with, the current Prime Minister is Prime Minister for only about 24 kilometers of this country. The federal Islamabad is his only domain. They've lost Punjab. They never had any government in any of the other provinces. So he's with the other economic failures, the major failures, and the issues they've developed for this country in last 4 months, it's amazing how they could bring a country with 6% growth rate down to this pathetic state where the Chief of Army Staff is allegedly requesting America to put in its voice to get the IMF loan. So coming to these 11 seats, now what is the ruling coalition or PMLN trying to do? They are afraid that if the two their allies, the MQM and the BAP party, because they were the ones who quit the PTI alliance and joined the current coalition, and it was their leaving that tipped the balance, and the vote of no confidence became successful. So they are 11 members. Both BAP and MQM put together. And so they've tried to sort of accept the resignation of 11 PTI members out of 130. They are afraid in case the PTI comes back and tries to challenge them, because Mr. Shahbaz Sharif only had 2 votes in excess. So they are afraid that in case that happens, they don't want to lose the government. So they've taken out 11 members of PTI in their own way to see how, to cover that eventuality if it does happen. Now, and they've also selected seats where they thought that they might be able to win, because looking at the numbers, these are hand-picked seats from various constituencies where they've looked at the number of votes each the various members got in the 2018 elections, and they figured that these are, in their current opinion, these are seats from Sindh and mostly from KP, and they are hoping that if the PMLN and other allied parties' vote was put together, then they may have been able to win, because these seats were won by various thinner majorities than other seats. So that's what they're thinking. But that's not going to happen. And if the bypolls are held, then I suspect that PTI will, of course, contest the election. And after we win, then the plan would be to resign again, as we did initially.
Dr. Zarka, let me come back to you. Ji, Kaisa, you were hearing Senator Zarka. She's saying that, after they planned to win, they will resign again. We are looking at a general election, if we go by the term of the government, in 11 months, so to speak. And we are looking at, this kind of game, this kind of play that is going on. With the Deputy Speaker resigning, accepting, not accepting, then it being said that those resignations will be accepted pursuant to an actual appearance by the members. Now, the piecemeal of them, to 11 of them being accepted. Overall, considering the economic turmoil that we are in, with 3 to 4 rupee, rupee depreciating 3 to 4, as compared to dollar, where are we headed? What's happening?
First of all, I must appreciate that you have invited me to this important program. Now, you can see that the situation is such, as you mentioned, that the Army Chief is requesting the United States. So the gravity is very clear. Now, regarding elections, I tell you, this is, in this scenario, not at all any single percentage of possibility of elections. Imran Khan doesn't know about economic matters. You can see that in these circumstances, for example, elections are announced tomorrow. Then it will be 3-month interim government. So the interim government cannot decide about IMF. The IMF has to finalize in August. FATF will come. The interim government has no right to decide about major decisions.
But Kaisa, you're saying, I mean, granted, what you're saying as far as, it seems quite legitimate when you say that, we can't have elections right now, we can't afford elections. But can we, in any way afford the kind of political turmoil that we are seeing?
Not at all. With this turmoil, every day we are losing, and we know that how much we lost. You see, even in $100 billion we have a loan. So last 3 months, 50 rupees is the difference in dollar from 191 to 2. Even before, earlier dollar was appreciating. Now this is a turmoil. But what is the outcome? What should be done?
What's the solution?
Without the solution, without sitting all major parties, even for example, next election happen, and one party gets 60%, another 40. The 40% voter members of the party, they will say the same thing. They say, I don't know why, what happened to them. Get together, and I also feel that neutrals at this juncture cannot be neutrals. You see, we are fighting each other. We are allegations to making to each other. We are not coming to terms. So neutrals, this is the time that they convene us all together and we sit together, and because country is more important. My party or PTI is not as important as the country. You see, the reputation, I am a businessman. I had, when my family is the only family which has represented the president of Karachi Chamber of Commerce Industry, Lahore Chamber of Commerce Industry, Faisalabad Chamber of Commerce Industry. Then I contested 6 elections. I know the economy. You see, there was a time in 1990 when India was 4 times to Pakistan. Their economy was total 4 times. Now they are 11 times. What we are doing, quarreling and making difference between each other. Now India presently has 600 billion reserves. We have 9 billion reserves. And moreover, all our, what happened? Either Indian foreign ministers all come from the experts, all come from the
But do you think you will be able to get, you know, whether intervention or no intervention, do you think there's a possibility that you will have someone like Imran Khan sitting down and, you know, talking? Because we've categorically seen a refusal. Let me go to Dr. Zarka with this. Dr. Zarka, is there a chance now that you have, you know, as far as the Punjab government is concerned, do you think that there's a chance that perhaps in the interest, larger interest of the country, in the economic interest, in, you know, as far as overall the situation is concerned, and acknowledging that perhaps at this time general elections may not be a viable option, would it be possible for your party to perhaps sit down with the government and, you know, come to some sort of a tacit agreement in terms, you know, how to proceed further? Because as far as Punjab is concerned, now you're clearly, you know, your party has gained ground over there through the PMLQ. So, you know, is there a chance of that happening at all?
Thank you very much, MAHRUKH. You see, our main contention has been that why, you know, when Pakistan was stronger economically, we were paying back our debts, our economy was going up, our exports were record. $30 billion. We had large-scale manufacturing had become robust. There was no electricity load shedding. Fuel prices were good, and everything. And then we were taking care of the poor and SARS program as well as health cards. What was the need of bringing in people, so-called experienced people, who have made a terrible mess in the last 4 months?
But Dr. Zarka, okay, right. But at this time...
So now the question is, we are ready. See, we are ready to sit. But look at them. In the last 3 months, they have not been able to appoint a governor for the state bank. And therefore, the dollar is going up and the rupee has plummeted. Why? All other countries would freeze the rupee at some point. These people, it is as if they don't want to. They have come in with an agenda and they want to serve that agenda. Why are they not stopping the economy? They have the finance minister, they have the prime minister, this is a federation. Why are they not doing their job? Look at the flood situation in Pakistan right now. And where is the Prime Minister?
But Dr. Zarka, according to them, you know, this is a case of a back and forth exchange between 2 major political parties.
My dear MAHRUKH, they have ruled this country for 40 years, these people. It was our first stint, 3.5 years. And we managed to turn around the country in spite of COVID, in spite of all the serious issues that with the current account deficit they left us, all the landmines they left in the finances. In spite of that,
let me go with the same question.
And here they are. Allegedly, they are the most experienced. This gentleman who's on your show is also saying he's a businessman and they know how to do this and how to do that. So why have they not been able to deliver a single thing? Because all they're interested in is their NROs. We are ready to sit with anyone. But that person has to be willing to do something.
So are you ready? Is Imran Khan Sahab ready to sit with... First of all your members have resigned. Now we are seeing, you know, perhaps a piecemeal acceptance of those resignations. So, you know, effectively you have, none of you are in the National Assembly, whereas you are choosing now going to be part of the Punjab Assembly. You are, you know, going to be, you are in the Senate also. So overall, it seems to be a rather haphazard kind of picture. You know, in terms of clarity also for your political party. It doesn't look like it's an entirely great scenario for general elections to be called immediately also. So there must be some sort of...
It's like the kettle calling the pot black. I mean, look at the scenario that this country has been put in by the irresponsible acts of the people who are who are allegedly at the helm of affairs. What has been done? A country, after 3.5 years of extreme struggle of COVID, it's being brought out. You know, you had international newspapers, Bloomberg and other organizations, economists, saying Pakistan is on a positive path. It's going to come out. It's one of the topmost countries to start investing in Asia. And look where they've brought us. So it's not about PTI. This is about Pakistan, and this is about the people who are designing how Pakistan is governed and how they are dealing. It's all about, I'm sorry, it's all about wheeling and dealing. It's all about personal interests. How are the people who are managing the country right now, how they are going to benefit? It's not about Pakistan. I have not seen anything, any of the actions that have been taken in the last 4 months, which had Pakistan's interest at heart. No, it was all personal interest. It was all about the NRO.
Let me come back to you.
It was all about,
you know, I think Dr. Zarkar, your point.
I expected more intelligent talk from Dr. Zarkar. You see what happened in 3 months and 3 years and 8 months, how much direct foreign investment came Pakistan. The only 2 ways to find the solution for economy, number 1 is direct foreign investment. Our COVID in Pakistan was less than India. India got $44 billion last year direct without interest. We are just seeking $1 billion. They don't have foreign experts. They have their own elected experts. $44 billion came last year in India. These are the figures. And ours, there is only 1.5. So direct for now we are only needing $1 billion or a few billion dollars.
But do you expect any kind of FDI to come in these circumstances at all, where you're seeing it?
Not in these. I'm talking about 4 years of PTI. Right. What they did, then what they did, privatization. They are against privatization. I have been sitting with Asad Umar. PIA was being privatized. They don't know the realities. They don't have the vision. They don't have what is going next. They think just today. So India, PIA, if we don't have money, we have a problem now. Our army chief is now requesting US. So is it the dignity of the country? So why they did not plan? Why they could not visualize that what's going on next year?
Another question I have for you as a politician. You know, you have experience also. For the army chief to come out and ask America to expedite things with IMF. Certainly, one, it's a categorical acknowledgement of where we are at this time. And secondly, also, do you think it also shows that do they have a better, you know, are our politicians overall being looked at in a certain light internationally also? Are we really making a hash of things? Are the politicians, you know, across the board? I don't mean you, or I don't mean the PTI particularly, but all politicians making a hash of things, and the image overall that is going internationally, whereas, you know, one major political party saying they don't want to play ball, they just don't want to play, you know, sitting out in this way, rather childish, and then also, you know, saying that we did really great when we were in power, which, you know, you're saying, no, that's not true. So there is this categorical, you know, just, you know, facts being said, yes, no, whatever. The point is, are we really going to look this bad internationally? We've never looked as bad. Isn't that true?
Hamid, the thing which you can visualize, which I can visualize, our political leaders are not going to comprehend. They are just contesting. All the time they have giving statements on political matters. since this government came, Mifta Ismail in charge of economy, he is only working on IMF. Did he work to boost economy? Did he work to have a more direct foreign investment? Did he work to disinvest their own asset? Now, since many years, all parties are asking that Pakistan at least 5,000 billion rupees of assets are with government. So why can't they sell that? Why? What is the problem? Now everybody, whenever we are going to try, because they don't have the vision of economic, they just say cheap things. Now presently, Mifta is in the market to sell PSO, then other gas distribution companies. No, so why can't? All other countries are selling their assets, and when they are in need. So only you are just begging and asking IMF. So you have your own assets. At this time, if you will sell now, it will be 20% less. If PTI government would have sold these assets at that time, we could fetch 25% more price. So they don't have the vision, they don't have economic know-how. So our that's why our government is suffering.
Let me go to Zahid Sahab. Zahid Sahab, I asked Kaisa Sahab this also, and I think as a journalist overall, when you see the army chief of a country ask America to expedite things with the IMF as far as our funds are concerned, are you looking at the way things are panning out as far as our overall politicians are concerned? It doesn't matter which political party, but have they really, I mean, the image of politicians, their graph overall, for them things are not looking great. It doesn't matter which political party we're talking about. Isn't that true? In terms of how serious they're going to be taken internationally, how much maybe the monetary fund is also going to be looking at their requests, expediting things, economy overall, sustainability of it, and we keep talking about FDI, but the kind of circumstances that we're in, the kind of political instability that we are seeing. I mean, there is a categorical refusal from PTI to sit with this government. Constantly saying, Imran Khan Sahab saying they don't acknowledge it, they don't agree with it, the foreign conspiracy narrative, the cipher, all of those things. When one of your major political parties is saying consistently that there is a foreign conspiracy, and then your army chief is going to America to ask them to expedite your loans, what kind of a mess are we looking at, in your opinion?
What a contrast.
Absolutely, very valid point. There is a chaos, uncertainty, and of course, Kaisa Sahab was talking about foreign direct investment in PTI area. It dropped down 23.2% in the past 4 years in Pakistan, the foreign investment. These are the facts presented before the parliament. And forget about what PTI have done. Let's, for the sake of debate and discussion, the seasoned politicians who have ruled the country, and they were accusing PTI that it's not delivering and not putting the country on the right path. And they took the government. It has been almost 100 days plus now. And they could not control even, the reserve are depleted. And unfortunately, from $10.5 billion to around $8 billion right now in just 100 days. And the economy, the situation, and rupees out of control.
But Zahid Sahab,
and of course,
we are also looking at a situation where, now, as far as the PTI is concerned, I want to ask your opinion about this. As far as the foreign funding case is concerned, the assertions that are now coming in, international publications also are alluding to funds having been come from, foreign funds having been given under other kind of cricket matches or whatever, the facts that are being alluded to. In your opinion, how is that going to impact the overall political scene? What are the likely ramifications, possible ramifications of that case also pending? Things getting murkier, more unstable, and politicians will have to man up at this point, and that just doesn't, it means across the board, right? To be able to pull things together, to be able to get at least a handle on things. And when we say, when you go, or as a political party, when you talk about it, or you know, Kaisar Saab talks about it, even Dr. Zarqa, whatever political party she's from, any political party alone, without having that kind of support from other political parties, can they pull the country out of the crisis at this time? That's my question. It doesn't matter if it's PMLN at this point, if it was the PTI, and if we were where we are, would they be able to do this alone if the PMLN was doing what the PTI is doing, with, you know, their members saying we are in, we are not out, let's go for the general elections, go for Punjab Assembly, you know, the kind of turmoil that we are seeing at this time? Is it going to help the economy? Is one party going to be able to get things out, get Pakistan out of this crisis at all?
MAHRUKH, it's a $1 million question that one party, one political party cannot pull the country out of this crisis. We need a collective approach, absolute collective approach. Forget about the politics right now. All political parties must come on the same table, and obviously they should enjoy the support of establishment as well, all the institutions, and then this country come out of it. It's not remain a job of only PMLN or PTI or any political party. Whatever the political party would come into the government, it would be facing a huge Herculean task, even better than that, even bigger than we think. And this is like a now or never situation for the country economy, for the country's stability, and the peace prevail in the country. 90% peace returned to the country. No terrorism, no such activity in the country. In 2021, you know, Pakistan witnessed absolute peace. 95% violence dropped down. But unfortunately, political violence and political turmoil and this situation, polarization in the political parties and the governance as well, this put the country on this stake. Now the military leadership is seeking support to get out of this crisis and trying to contact the international institution. So this is the problem, unfortunately. And now all political parties must come up to the single table and sign the charter.
Back to you. We have with us Balak Sher Mazari, who is Balak Sher Khosa, sorry, who is a legal expert. I want to go to him to ask Balak Saab, of the situation at this time, as far as these 11 seats are concerned. For clarity, you know, two of these are nominated seats. What do you think will likely happen? By-elections on the other seats, and then as far as these 2 seats are concerned, of course, the other nominated members will then, you know, be likely be nominated as members of the National Assembly. They will then resign also. How? So the list will have to be exhausted, and then how does it work?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I'll start with the big thing that whichever party we like, we live or we vote or we have taken oath, for God's sake. I will request Kaisar Saab and Gashkori Saab that first Pakistan, for God's sake, first Pakistan, then you live with any political party. If Pakistan exists, then the politics exist. We live with our political thoughts, with our political slogans. But if there is no, God forbid, if there is no Pakistan, then there cannot be any party. So, to my view, hello?
Gigi, I can hear you.
Okay. To my view and to my legal economy, which I've learned since last being a student of law, as being 24th year of my being in the practicing before the courts of law and Supreme Court of Pakistan, I think so we need to grow up as a nation. We have not been built up as a nation. You know, you like my face, you like A, B, C, D, political. I'm talking about the political leaders now. You might not like the political leaders' face. Somebody is some, and some. But at least when Pakistan comes, when the word Pakistan comes, we need to stand by each other. We are in the biggest crisis, financial crisis, which the world is having right now. We have seen and experienced Sri Lanka.
But legally, I mean, of course, your sentiments are, I think, echoed by most of us here. But as far as the legal question is concerned, how do you see these 11 resignations being accepted? Are we looking at by-elections? How will it work?
You see, when they have resigned and the resignation has been accepted, definitely the election process has to go on, because the reference has to be made to the election commission that they have resigned and their resignation may be accepted. And definitely the political parties, the leaders, are going to be asked, the head of the party.
But is it the discretion of, I mean, for these 11 seats to be accepted, is there a legal criteria, or, you know, why are these 11 resignations, why have they been picked up? Is there, how, you know, it's up to the election commission which ones to pick up before? How does it work legally? What is the legal background of this?
You see, the legally in the Constitution of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, it is very loud and clear that the resignation will go to the party head, and if not so to the party head, it will go to the speaker. The speaker is going to accept the resignation, and they are going to write it to the election commission to de-notify them, and then to start the fresh election process. The fresh election process means that the parties of the head, like PMLN, PTI, People's Party, JUI, PMLQ, they are going to give their candidates within the stipulated time period. Within 90 days, they are going to have elections. So then, whoever wins, the people of Pakistan votes for whoever, then definitely some party wins. And afterwards, whoever seeks the majority, he rules like a prime minister, chief minister, whatever it comes on.
But is it the discretion of the election commission? Is it the discretion of the speaker? Which ones to accept?
No. It is not the discretion of the election commission. When it is the speaker who accepts the resignation, then the election commission has to go in accordance with the rules and the laws to have the fresh election. It is not the discretion. It is then becomes the constitutional right that somebody has resigned, and if somebody who has resigned, he comes to the election commission, no, I have not resigned, then the situation is different.
Right. Thank you for being with us. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you for joining us, Kaisar Ahmed Sheikh Saab. Thank you for being with us. Dr. Zarqa, thank you for your time. Zaid Bushkori Saab, thank you for joining us. Balik Sherkhosa Saab, thank you for your input. Overall, certainly as far as the situation is concerned, it is not the best time for political turmoil. One would root for political stability at this time. As we've all agreed at this time, Pakistan first, and if political parties could come to some sort of an agreement or sit together to work towards, have a working relationship and at least get Pakistan to a state where we can then legitimately talk about elections, instead of the kind of situation that we are seeing today, where the rupee depreciates every day to the dollar to some 3 rupees, 2 rupees, and we are seeing a downward trend overall. Default, perhaps we are looking right in the face in this kind of a scenario to demand for elections, to talk about piecemeal by-elections also. Can Pakistan afford this kind of these kind of elections? Can Pakistan afford these decisions at this time? Those are the questions that politicians perhaps need to ask themselves across the board. They also need to perhaps ask themselves what kind of trend are they setting, what kind of an image are they sending out internationally and across the board. Politicians, where in the kind of state where we have the army chief asking, trying to expedite funds through US as far as the IMF is concerned. Those questions perhaps need to be asked. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.